Hi, everybody. My name is Sir Her, Arts Program Coordinator for the City and County of Broomfield. I'm here with Joe O'Connell from Creative Machines. Joe designed and built two magnificent pieces of art for the City and County of Broomfield, Water is Life and Broom Corn. And both sculptures were recently installed in our new and beautiful Broomfield Community Center. And today we just wanted to take a moment to get to know the artist and see what inspired him to create these masterpieces. How you doing today, Joe?
Doing well.
Good. Good. So, Joe, tell us a little bit about you and tell us a little bit about Creative Machines and what is Creative Machines and what do you do there?
Sure. Well, my name is Joe O'Connell. I was born in New Jersey, and I had a lot of connections to the Edison family. And so I grew up kind of wanting to be an inventor. And I rented my first shop space from Thomas Edison's former shop foreman. And one of the lessons that he imparted to me, he was in his 90s, I was in my 20s, and we would set up a hammock in my first shop, and he would relax because he was preparing interviews for the National Archives, and he would give me a lot of clues as to how Edison managed a creative workforce. It was like creating a three-dimensional puzzle. So when I started my company 25 years ago, I had that as a model. I wanted to find ways for people to work together to make art. And I had known that in art history, a lot of art is actually made by studios and is ascribed to an individual. I really wanted to kind of put the studio first. I am the owner and president, and I do most of the concept design, but everybody is a collaborator, and I'm looking for ways to increase the amount of concept design that other people do. And so I deliberately didn't name it like Joe O'Connell's studio. I gave it a name that was sort of ready for people to come in and fill the gaps.
Yeah.
And so that was 25 years ago. And we have grown to about 30 people. We have a huge facility, and we make interactive exhibits. We do sculptures. We do rolling ball machines. We're now doing some outdoor play spaces that are a cross between playgrounds, sculpture gardens, and interactive exhibits.
Nice. Yeah, you guys do some amazing work and you guys built some massive and amazing sculptures, not just for Broomfield, but Texas A&M, hospitals, art exhibits, expos, and museums all over the United States. What goes into the process in creating these pieces of art? And where do you even start with building something so massive?
Well, years ago, when I started the company, I didn't set out to be like, I didn't say, okay, we are an art company or we're an exhibits company. The mission statement from 25 years ago is we create objects and environments that encourage creativity, support social interaction, and inspire self-confidence. And that plays itself out in all of the things we do. And what I think makes that a little different than maybe the common picture in people's minds of how an artist works is that we are very beholden to the audience. We're always considering, how will people use this? What time of day will they be using it? What kind of circumstance will they be using it? Will they be alone or in a group? Will it be a family? Will it be different generations? So we think of things from the perspective of the public. And in some circles, that's considered unusual. And people think, oh, I thought art was an individual expressing their own psychological inner self to the world. Yeah. And that's actually a more recent phenomena that's mostly 19th century. I think throughout the longer history of art, you would have people always thinking, how will people perceive this? And that's how we start. So in these cases, I thought, okay, these sculptures will be viewed night and day. With public art, you don't get a lot of chance to do a lot of explanation. I always joke, well, who's going to hand out the decoder ring if we put in a whole lot of really complicated things? But we also want people to look at it, like it instantly, but then as they come back repeatedly, find more and more in it. So for example, for Water is Life, we gave a lot of thought to the different bands and the imagery in those. And we would think that maybe the first time you come and look at it, oh, it's just cool. Hey, it's a big water drop. And then on subsequent views, you'd find some of it is subsurface water, some of it streams on the surface, some of it is trees at the tree line. You know, you get more into it. You see plant life, you see animal life, all coming from water. So,
Nice.
and then night and day, it had to look good and interesting and different night and day, because the facility will be used night and day. With the Broom Corn sculpture, you know, a lot of it is I looked at the architecture of the community center, and I thought just how nice colors would look against the neutral, clean backdrop of the existing architecture. So we don't create the art in a vacuum. We think about the people who will use it and the time of day and the circumstances.
Nice. Yeah, and you've already kind of touched up on this, but I know you did a lot of research on Broomfield, Colorado, before you kind of built these wonderful sculptures. What inspired you to create Water is Life and Broomcorn?
Well, three things I would say. I did get two books on the history of Broomfield, which I read. History is kind of a hobby of mine, so I really enjoyed reading those. And it was remarkable. There is a sort of a thread of water and its importance in the settlement of the entire West, but then also in how settlement played out in Broomfield. Um, the head of our design department's son lives in Broomfield, so he was able to tell me a little bit about it. And
Nice.
then we had another book about biographies of people who have lived in Broomfield.
Nice. Yeah, and Water's Life is such a unique piece. It's 2D art built within a 3D form. It's also a very interactive piece of art. There's lights in it that when you press a button, the lights change colors. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's really interactive. Talk a little bit about that and what you hope Broomfield citizens will get from the Water's Life sculpture.
Well, I hope that they will, you know, think it's beautiful, because I think beauty opens a little door in everyone's mind, and through that door other messages and thoughts can come in. And I guess I would hope that as they're admiring it and thinking about it, the idea that this drop of water encompasses so much human and natural history, I'd hope that it opens their mind to a big journey that I think all of us in the whole human race and the United States in particular has to do, of not seeing ourselves separate from nature, you know, not just turning on the tap and thinking, oh, it's coming from some magical source somewhere else. We have essentially been credit card spending in the West and, you know, pumping groundwater. Broomfield is fortunate in that you have good year-round water supplies, but, you know, where we are in southern Arizona and actually throughout the whole West, we just have to start seeing ourselves as embedded in an ecosystem, not hovering above it, and just thinking of ourselves more as part of nature. And I think we'll be happier that way, but it's going to take a little bit of a cultural change. And so maybe people will be open to that after seeing that drop of water every day and all the consequences, all the things that come from it.
Yeah, very strong statements there. And water is super important, especially Colorado. We can see the mountains from here. We get the luxury of seeing the snow and the water flow from the rivers down to us. But I think sometimes we do take it for granted. So hopefully, this piece of sculpture will bring that reminder to everybody. Now let's talk about your other piece here, Broom Corn. It's now hanging up inside the community center. Tell us a little bit about that piece and how did you choose that for the hanging sculpture?
Sure. So, you know, I was at first intrigued by the form of the plant, you know, from which Broomfield gets its name. And what was kind of interesting to me is how the broom corn plant is both functional and decorative. You know, it's still used to make brooms, and yet people use it in decorative wreaths. It's colorful, you know, as it dries out, it turns into different colors. It has some pretty interesting forms. It has the curly Q form. It has the little balls. It has straight pieces. So as just a purely formal thing, it's kind of a neat structure. And a lot of art I do is to take a close look at something in nature, whether it's a seashell or a cocoon, and take that scale and blow it up really large to help people kind of see it with fresh eyes. So I thought this might give people a chance to look at it again with fresh eyes. And so I deliberately use different colors than broom corn is in to help people concentrate on the form. I use colors that are more or less related to wildflowers. sort of a color palette that's typical of the region, which, you know, the Broom Corn doesn't have. But the form, I had all these squiggly little stainless pieces and straight pieces combined together. And then, you know, every sculpture I think works on different levels. They're like, what does it look like from 50 feet, from 10 feet, and from just 3 or 4 feet away? From a distance, you just see the ascending. It's like the pieces of broom corn are drooping down and then they rise up in a nice arc. So it's almost like it could be seen as like a waterfall coming down or as something growing up. So there's that movement. And then as you get closer, you start to see the structure. I think it was just a way of celebrating the beauty that's found in the plant for which the city is named.
Nice, yeah, and both pieces are up now. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. You did a magnificent job. So when are you gonna come to Broomfield, Colorado to check it out? Check out your.
As soon as we can travel again. I come to the Denver area practically every year.
Okay.
We have clients in the Denver area. We've done work with the Denver Children's Museum, and we've done art pieces, Denver, Aurora, and the surrounding areas. It's a place we love. Our family has had friends who live up and down the whole Front Range, so we visit Colorado frequently. We're only one state over, so
Yeah,
it won't be too hard.
nice. Well, if someone's interested in having you guys create an interactive sculpture for them, how does somebody get a hold of Creative Machines?
Well, you can go to our website, creativemachines.com, and there's a contact page. You can send a message, and those go directly to me. Happy to look at those. We'll be putting out a new website in the next few weeks. Actually, it's in final development. That's just a little bit more active look at our work, more video, more full page. That just does a better job of sharing what we do with the world. So creativemachines.com is the place to find us.
Okay. Well, viewers, if you guys want to see Water's Life and Broom Corn, you can see it in the new and beautiful Broomfield Community Center, which opens up later this year. And also be sure to subscribe, follow, like, and share our Creative Broomfield social media accounts, and stay tuned for more amazing content like this one. Joe, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.